Hello everyone, welcome to Standard Institute HVAC, MEP and Civil Engineering channel. Today we are going to check the internal components of a 4-pole contactor. Okay, how a contactor works, what is the need of contactor, and the internal components of a contactor. These things we are going to study in our today's session. So basically this is your contactor. As I said, it is a 4-pole contactor. L1, L2, L3 are the terminals from where we will be getting input supply, and T1, T2, T3 are the terminals which will be given to the load. These are the inputs, these are the outputs, these are the source supply, these are the load supply. And here you can check out 13NO, 14NO. It is actually an auxiliary contact, we name it as NO, normally open. Okay, which will be using for the electrical circuits wherever required. So as of now, L1, L2, L3 3 input supplies, and T1, T2, T3 3 output supplies. Okay, this particular contactor, okay, I have opened it over here and put it right in front of you. It is been separated with two different parts. Just as an opening is there over here, I just opened it and placed the internal components of a given contactor. You can check out over here. These are the internal components of the contactor, same replacement of this contactor which I has opened and kept in front of you, such that you all can get a brief knowledge regarding the contactors. Contactors are basically used in all the electrical panels. You can find these contactors in lighting control panels, MCC panels, even in air conditioning units, split AC, duct split AC, chiller plants, wherever required. We will be using these contactors in each and every electrical panel for switching operations and to protect the device whenever we are using a device with huge load. I'll give you a separate video regarding the theory which is required for the contactors, and a small little bit links I'll be providing in the description, such that you can get a brief knowledge on contactor theoretically. So let's see the internal components of the contactor. So your contactor will have basically these particular three internal parts will be there. I'll explain every part in detail, not to worry. This is the nameplate, this one. Okay, just a nameplate. What are the terminals which are residing within a contactor. That it has been there over here, which is a ready contactor. Okay, this is the nameplate. This is also a nameplate. This is also a nameplate. Now we'll go to the internal components. I have just opened this contactor. Actually, the contactor will be like this. Okay, it will have this particular, it is a coil which plays a very important role in contactor working. Okay, coil usually will be placed over here like this. Okay, if the coil is getting energized, then only supply goes from the source to load, that is from L1, L2, L3 to T1, T2, T3. You can even say it as RYB input, RYB output. When the coil is energized, then only supply goes from, there will be a contact which will be created from L1, L2, L3 to T1, T2, T3, and within the video I'll be giving an animation to you, such that you can get a brief idea how a contactor is actually working, how the terminals are working, how they are getting interlocked, how they are getting locking due to the coil operations. First thing important is, if this coil is getting energized, I'm just removing it. It's a coil, right? It's a coil. Wait, these are the terminals of the coils, our nameplate of a coil. A1, A2, two coils. Okay, A1, A2 over here, A1, A2. Likewise over here also A1, A2, the same thing. Okay, A1, A2, A1, A2. Fine. So it's a coil. So a coil is been placed onto the fixed part. It's a fixed part, it will not move, it's a fixed part. Okay, this one is, so it's contactor altogether working depends upon its electromagnetic effect. As the coil get energized, as this coil get energized when we are giving it a positive, a phase and a neutral. Okay, as we give it a phase and a neutral, this coil get energized. As this coil is getting energized, automatically what is happening, there will be a contact between these two particular poles, and due to this particular contact, over here our L1, L2, L3 and T1, T2, T3 will come in contact. Okay, let me show you. It is a fixed part of your contactor, it will not move, whereas it's a movable contact. It's a movable contact. Just check out, you can see it's moving. So this movable contact will come in contact with the fixed part whenever the coil is getting energized due to electromagnetic field. As I'm placing this particular coil over here, okay, and when I am energizing this coil, automatically what will happen, this particular spring which will be over here like this, which will be placed over here like this, will tend to move this particular moving part with the fixed part. Due to that, L1, L2, L3 will come in contact with T1, T2, T3. Understand? And first important thing, energize the coil. Due to energizing of the coil, the fixed part will attract the movable part. As the movable part and fixed part is been in contact, then definitely the links will be created from L1, L2, L3 to T1, T2, T3. That's how a particular contact turns on and turns off a three-phase device with the initial supply of a single phase, which will be given. That is the phase and the neutral which we are giving to the coil. To the coil over here, one phase and one neutral if we are giving. As we give one phase and a neutral, this particular coil get energized. Due to energizing of this coil, the spring which is there within this, will tend this particular movable part towards the fixed path. As it is coming near the fixed path, automatically this L1, L2, L3 with NO will come in contact with T1, T2, T3 with NO. That is 1,3 will be in contact with 1,4. There will be no contact between them till the coil is energized. Okay, so L1, L2, L3, T1, T2, T3 and auxiliary contacts will be in contact with each other when we are giving or energizing the coil. Important is energize the coil. When you energize the coil, electromagnetic effect will be created in the fixed part. In the fixed part of the contactor, electromagnetic effect will be created due to this particular coil which is getting energized due to power supply. As it getting energized, as it got electromagnetic field effect, automatically this spring tends to move the movable part from the topmost place to the fixed path. When the fixed path and moving path is getting interlocked, when it gets interlocked, okay, due to its interlocking, we will get the supply from L1, L2, L3 to T1, T2, T3. Consider it as source. Consider this hand as source. This hand as load. Whenever coil is getting energized, there will be a contact created between these two hands and they will get interlocked. As they got interlocked, definitely supply from L1, L2, L3 will be given to the T1, T2, T3. That's how a contactor works with energizing a coil. That is, energizing the coil is done with single phase, and the supply to turn on or turn off a particular three-phase big load with the help of a single phase. With this, we will be avoiding the major sparking and many issues of a three-phase load with the help of this contactor. That's how a contactor works. These are the internal parts. I'll give you working in detail in my upcoming videos. I'll make a series of videos on contactors all together. So as of now, for your better understanding, just remember the parts, internal parts of the contactor. This is the total one contactor. These are the internal parts of the contactor. It's a particular coil, fixed contact, movable contact with spring, movable contact with spring, coil, fixed contact. Just placed this particular coil in the fixed contact. This spring is attached to the movable contact. Just take it off over here, place it over here and attach it all together. See, it has been attached. You can check out over here. Totally it's been attached. After attaching, just give this thing over here, the connections of L1, L2, L3 and T1, T2, T3 all together. Your contactor will be ready. It's a ready contactor for you all. Just place the nameplate details of it. Hope you all understood. The internal contact components of a given contactor. Please do like, subscribe and share our YouTube channel so that it will be a great support to us. Hope you understood this particular session. If you have any doubts, you can comment me over there. I'll be replying you. Thank you everyone.